Welcome to our superhero channel, all superheroes in one place. In today's video, we'll see the top 10 physically strongest DC characters. Let's check out. Number 10, Aquaman. We don't think any superhero has a reputation as bad as Aquaman, which doesn't really make sense when you realize that as King of the Sea he's got unquestioned rule over 75% of the entire world. According to the DC Wiki, Aquaman possesses superhuman strength on the order of 150 times human maximum, which would make him barely strong enough to lift a couple cars. However, newer comics have shown Aquaman casually doing things like lifting an entire cruise ship and throwing a submarine from the bottom of the ocean with enough force for it to fly several hundred feet into the air. We don't know what humans Aquaman is supposedly only worth 150 of, but we sure as hell never want to meet them. Number 9, Larfleeze aka Agent Orange. Larfleeze is a billion-year-old orange alien who single-handedly wields an almost godly amount of power thanks to a pile of magic rings that he alone has access to, which really puts Superman's origin story into perspective. Larfleeze has access to the same basic abilities as members of the Green Lantern Corps, only instead of will, his constructs are powered by his insatiable sense of greed, which is represented by the color orange for some reason. As the sole member of the Orange Lantern Corps, Larfleeze could theoretically shatter entire planets with a giant glowing fist composed of fighter jets, or swat moons out of orbit with a comically large tennis racket. The secret of Larfleeze's immense potential for ass-whooping lies in his affinity with the orange light of Everus, the power of which is only limited by Larfleeze's own gluttony. As a unique side effect of being fueled solely by greed, Larfleeze's power ring has the rather unique ability to charge to 100,000% of its usual capacity, granting the alien more power than an entire army of Green Lanterns, who are variously described as being strong enough to temporarily restrain Superman through sheer force of will. Then again, when you consider that Green Lanterns often waste their power creating stupid things like giant teddy bears and spacefaring pirate ships, maybe Larfleeze isn't that scary. Number 8, Kobe, aka Star Conqueror. In the DC universe there's a race of starfish creatures dubbed Starro, who are basically the DC version of facehuggers from the Alien franchise. But instead of killing their victims, they force them to do their bidding, with a single Starro capable of taking control of everyone from a regular human to members of the Justice League. The far better named Star Conqueror not only has total control over every Starro in existence, but actually grows in power with every victim they enslave. Technically, that means that Star Conqueror has the potential to be one of the physically strongest beings in the DC universe because every victim adds to his already immense strength. Considering that Star Conqueror has taken over hundreds of planets and controls millions of beings from across 9 different galaxies, he's already millions of times stronger than an average person. Take that, Aquaman. Number 7, Billy Batson, aka Shazam, or Captain Marvel. By day, Billy Batson is just an ordinary 10-year-old kid with a stupid alliterative name, but when he speaks the word Shazam he gets struck by lightning and transforms into a hero with access to the collective powers of 6 Greek gods. Because having the power of just one god wouldn't be fair, would it? All in all, Shazam has access to the powers of Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury to use in any way he sees fit. This allows him to do things like fire lightning bolts from his eyes, control the weather to such an extent he can write messages in the sky that can be seen from space, or stalemate Superman in an arm wrestling contest. Because Shazam is, essentially, a small child attempting to steer a 7-foot-tall lightning-powered hunk of beef, he is in some regards stronger than Superman because he quite literally doesn't understand his own strength. Even when blessed with divine knowledge from the gods, kids are still stupid in the DC universe. Number 6, Teth Adam, aka Black Adam. By day, Teth Adam is just an ordinary 3,000-year-old Egyptian pharaoh. But when he speaks the word Shazam or, better yet, yells it from the top of a mountain while playing a guitar, he gains the respective powers of several gods. Something sounds suspiciously familiar about this. The main difference between Black Adam and Captain Marvel is that while Captain Marvel derives his powers from the wussy Greek gods, Black Adam gets his powers from the objectively cooler, animal-headed gods of ancient Egypt. While powered up, Black Adam is virtually invulnerable. He can fly and heal wounds by striking them with bolts of lightning. Because comics don't have to make sense if there's an excuse to draw something cool. Strength-wise, Black Adam is capable of pretty much all the feats you'd expect from a guy they had to hire Dwayne Johnson to play in a movie. Black Adam once threw an entire aircraft carrier at New York because he was angry, and he can supposedly fly at speeds in excess of Mach 500 within the Earth's own atmosphere, meaning he could punch someone in the face and then watch an episode of Adventure Time before it made any noise. Number 5, Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman. Packing a pair of indestructible bracelets, an unbreakable lasso that forces whomever is captured by it to tell you their PIN number, and arguably the most powerful right hook of any female in fiction, Wonder Woman is, in terms of raw physical power and combat prowess, unequivocally badass. Throughout her illustrious 7-decade-long crime-fighting career, Wonder Woman has hurled a rock several million miles directly into the center of the sun, deflected Darkseid's supposedly unstoppable Omega beams by slapping them with her wrists, and once even walked off being clocked in the jaw by Professor Zoom when his fist was traveling at almost the speed of light, allowing him to hit with the apparent force of an entire star. Number 4, Uxas, aka Darkseid. Darkseid is the DC equivalent of a Japanese mob boss, in that he spends most of his time standing around looking cool with his arms crossed while occasionally firing disintegrating death beams from his eyeballs. Though the overall power of Darkseid's almighty backhand varies considerably depending on which comic he decides to grace with his presence, he is generally considered one of the DC Universe's most powerful entities. However, Darkseid rarely ever needs to display his vast, untapped resources of raw power because he can also fire something called Omega beams from his eyes. According to Darkseid, there is no being in the universe who can survive being hit by one of these beams, though Wonder Woman would argue differently, and he has total and utter control over the direction in which they move. Basically, he could theoretically make the beams travel exclusively in the shape of a crudely drawn penis and still manage to kill almost any being in the known universe. Number 3, Doomsday, aka the Ultimate Destroyer. According to the comics, Doomsday is the result of decades of cruel experimentation to create the ultimate life form. In short, Doomsday was repeatedly sent to prehistoric Krypton as an infant to die, whereupon he'd be cloned and sent back again. Now immune to whatever had killed him previously. As a result of his countless deaths and decades of forced evolution, Doomsday is virtually indestructible and strong enough to stand toe-to-toe with almost anyone in the DC Universe. Along with besting the likes of Wonder Woman, Power Girl, and over 100 Green Lanterns while surfing around on a giant meteor, Doomsday also once punched his way out of the supposedly inescapable Phantom Zone. On top of this, Doomsday has slaughtered entire planets filled with superpowered beings, leveled cities, slapped mountains into dust, and even once nearly succeeded in killing every wildebeest on Earth for some reason. Number 2, Jon Jones, aka Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter is essentially Superman, if the writers in charge of his character never bothered to get rid of all the stupid powers they came up with in the 1980s. As if being super strong with the ability to turn himself into a giant snake wasn't overly powered enough, the man from Mars can turn invisible, walk through walls, and stretch his extremities to such an extent he could slap you in the face from a passing biplane. By using both his superior, Martian physiology in combination with his immense telekinetic powers, the Jade Warrior is capable of some truly outlandish feats of upper body strength, like knocking someone out by letting them punch him in the face, or lifting a spaceship bigger than the Earth itself by focusing all of his biomass into his own arms. And who could forget the time he helped pull the entire Earth out of orbit using Wonder Woman's lasso? Apparently, no hero in the DC Universe can say that they're strong until they've knocked at least one version of Superman through a wall. But more on that in a second. Number 1, Clark Kent, aka Superman. We thought long and hard about giving the Man of Steel the number 1 spot, knowing it would annoy the one group nobody on the internet ever really has the patience to deal with, people who don't like Superman. However, something occurred to us while we were researching the other entries. While the last son of Krypton is by no means the most powerful character in the DC Universe, Superman is the yardstick against which all other supposedly robust characters are measured. In all of the research we conducted, characters aren't considered strong because they can lift an oil tanker or flatten a forest by closing a book too quickly. They're considered strong because they can hurt Superman. Hell, Superman was considered so ridiculously overpowered by his own writers that the character of Doomsday was created purely so that the Man of Tomorrow would have an opponent who could challenge him in a fight that didn't involve Kryptonite or Muhammad Ali. Superman is so overtly powerful that his feats of strength now include bench pressing the entire Earth for 5 days straight. That's not a typo or hyperbole. According to the new 52 DC comic, the Man of Steel is strapped to a machine that forces him to lift 5.972 sextillion tons, and all Superman says in response is, "That's all you've got?"
Thanks for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe button and support us. See you all in the next video.